Good evening, everyone. So, today we are going to have our session on career paths in web development and Android development. Let's wait a couple of more minutes so that others can also join. Sandeep, can you please turn off your mic? Okay, I think we should start now. So, basically, today we have our chief guest Bharat Singh Chauhan, who is our guide for the career path regarding Android development today. So, Bharat, please give your intro.
Thank you, Yash. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Bharat Singh Chauhan. I'm a fourth year student of BTech Computer Science and Engineering, and have experience in more than 10 languages, uh, including the front end web development, back end, and mobile application development. Also, I have been created many projects, and some of them are related to IoT and machine learning, artificial intelligence, etc. And today I'm here uh, on the behalf of Coding Muggers to guide people in the field of mobile application development. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Bharat. So now I would like to ask you to guide our folks about Android development. So what career paths they can choose and what requirements they should have to have a good career in Android development field.
All right. So basically, Android development is a very vast field. You can, you know, it is a you can do many things in Android development, including the front end development, the back end, the full stack, or you can just maintain the database, or security areas are also there which we can work on. So in mobile application development, there is basic things we need to follow. For example, if we go in the front end, we have to have the knowledge of some languages like XML, because XML is the front end development language used in Android. And if you need to go in the back end, like the working of the application, you need to learn one of the following two languages, which are Java and Kotlin. So either you can learn Java or you can learn Kotlin and design an application, uh, and these languages will do the workings. For example, if I created an application which consists of a screen in which you can log in using your email ID and password. So the XML handles the the screen user interface part, the text boxes in which you will enter the details, and the buttons, and if there is any image associated to it, and the working, like when you press a button, what will happen on the back end. For example, the data which you've entered will be going to the database, and the credentials will be matched, and if they are matched, you're going to log in inside the application. So these things will be done using the backend portion, which is Kotlin or Java. So you can learn those two. Then after that, if you want to like make your application further, you can move into some more components. Like you can implement a service in which the background operations will be done without interrupting the user interface, and the broadcast receiver, in which you can implement the notifications area. For example, if you have a news application where and you want to tell the users that the news is updated on the feed, you can use the broadcast receiver component of the Android. Similarly, you can use different views. For example, list view or recycler view or something like that. Many views are there. And then for storing the data, there are two techniques. First is the shared preferences, in which you can store data temporarily. For example, if you see username and password, there are the data is very less. Okay, so the data doesn't consume many much bytes. So you can store this in shared preferences, or you can use a database. Android supports SQLite database, in which you can store your data in the form of a row and column, and or you can use a file system also. Create a file, store the information, and then in the mobile in itself. I'm not talking about the cloud. If you want to store in the cloud, you can use techniques in which Firebase is involved. Google Firebase is a a very good example for cloud storing of data, and it is very easy to link also to the application. Then after making your application stable, like you have to check if there is a memory leak in your application, or if there is a error in your application, any exception in the application, right? So what happens that we build a code, and we create an application, but then after 6 months or in year, what happens that new libraries came, many new upgrades came, right? So the methods which we have implemented get deprecated, right? Or depreciated. So we have to constantly evolve our application in order to maintain it to the standards of the Android, right? So for doing this, we have to constantly monitor our code. We constantly have to debug, and we have to constantly uh, handle the errors. We have to set up the code in a way that if this step is throws an error, we don't have to like crash the whole application, right? So we can what we can do is, if this step is not done, then move to this step. If this step is done, then move to next step. We have to write code like that, so that the user reliability sticks with the application. The user don't think यार application चलाते ही ये बंद हो जाता है ना? वो चीज़ नहीं होनी चाहिए उसमें. And then if you're using the third party libraries, for example, if you have created an application which scans the image, and then or edits the image with the sharpness or brightness, something like that, right? You can create your own code, or you can import methods using the third party libraries, right? So that third party library should also be compatible with your application, and your application should be compatible to maximum number of people who are using the Android versions, right? So Android version is also a major thing. You have to keep in mind that yes, approximately I think 60% or 70% users currently in the market are using Android Pie or Android 10, right? And some of them moved to Android 11, and many few of them have moved to Android 12. And the back, like Android 7 or 8, some portion is also there. People are using that. So you have to keep in mind that yes, my application can run on these versions, but the minimum and maximum version it should support with respect to the people, the version they are using. So you have to keep mind in that also. And at last you have to like test your application in like do everything with it. Try to test it as much as possible, because anything can happen. user can do anything like try to open and close your application rapidly, or try to click a button without filling the fields. You get the output, you will get the result that yes, when we do this, we get this result. You will observe, and you can, based on the observations, you can improve your application more. And then at last you can add the security also, like you can encrypt your application files, or encrypt the database of the application if you are dealing with the user and password, or the file system of some users, right? And then at last, after doing all these steps, when you're going to release the application, you have two options. The first option is you place an application on a server, or like hosted server or website, or your drive only, right? So what will happen that anyone can come and download our application for free, right? The second is the Google Play Store. I think everyone have heard the name of Google Play Store. So it is an type of a store, like virtual store, which manages your application. And the Google Play, the people preference give preference to Google Play Store because it is accessible to many users. Around everyone is using Android right now, right? And the whole world, around everyone is using Android right now. So they have access to the Google Play Store, and they can just easily search your application name and can download it. But that comes at a cost, because initially you have to like give a registration fees to the Google console account. And you have to match your application standard, the security standard, with the Google Play Store standard. Otherwise they will not accept your application. Also you have to provide constant updates, so that security doesn't get much neglected, right? So you have to keep in mind all those things. In Drive, you can upload, and it will be free. You don't have to pay any fee on it. But it is like it makes it more little suspicious kind of thing, because a file is there with the name of APK and some drive. You will feel somewhat confused, like should I download it or not? So these type of things you have to take care of. If you are launching an application at a very small scale, for example to the students of the college only, then you can obviously definitely, I would recommend, store it in a drive only, and give that specific folders access to the all. You can distribute the link so that many people can download. Or if you are going to launch it on a worldwide scale or country level scale, I recommend going to the Play Store, because it is very small initial investment. I think $25 or so. I don't know, but it gives your application access to the around whole world, right? So anyone and sitting anywhere can download an application, and it is a secure way of downloading, because many mobile phones have built-in security which doesn't allow apk.apk file to be installed manually, right? They only trust sources from the Play Store only. So these are all the points you should remember while building an application, Android application. And at last, keep practicing the the languages, the components, the or everything you have you're going to do from starting to the end. And keep improving your application, because everything is evolving. And if you or your application doesn't stay with the time, it will get deprecated one day. So that's all from my side. uh, if anyone had any doubt, he or she can ask. Thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you, Bharat, for explaining everything about Android development in such a fluent and clear way. I think everyone of our meeting joiners who have joined the meetings, so they have clear idea about Android development now. So continuing the session, I would like to tell you about the career paths in web development. How does website development works? So basically, I have prepared a presentation to present in the meeting, and I would like to share the presentation now, so that I can explain it with a diagrammatical way. Fine. Is my screen visible to everyone? Anyone can answer, Bharat and Kiran. Is my
Yeah,
screen?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So now we will see about the career paths in web development. Fine. So firstly we should know what is web development and what are the steps involved in the development of a complete website. Basically we have the first step, we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 complete 6 step process that builds a complete website. The first step is research and analysis. The research and analysis
Just
is
checking, the
basically
voice
done.
is not audible in this unmute the mic.
Okay, voice is not clear. Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot to open the mic and started explaining. So no issue, I will explain again. Right? So basically now we will see career paths in web development and what is web development. Okay, so we have 6 steps that are involved in the complete processing of a website, from the research to the deployment part. We have 6 steps. The first step is research and analysis, second is planning and strategy, third designing, fourth content creation development, and then testing and quality assurance. So explaining all these steps now. The first step is research and analysis. Basically whenever the customer gave a query to any company to build a website, we have the company first makes a research. I think someone has joined the class, so please wait. Okay. So again coming to my point. So whenever we get a query from a customer that he have to build a website, the company have to build a website for the customer. So first thing the company does is the research and analysis. It researches the proper relevant keywords and analysis of the product that the customer wants. This is basically done by connecting with the customer physically or talking with him by chats or calls. We know about the customer, what the customer wants from his website. Then the second step, then we come to the second step of the development, that is planning and research. Fine. So planning and research according to the customer needs that we have got from research and analysis, we plan the structure and strategy, so how to develop the website from start. So we plan the complete UI UX, that is user interface and user experience, that how better we can provide it to the customer. Third thing is designing. Then the UX and UI that is planned here, that is designed in the form of any image using Photoshop and Figma like software. That is the work of our graphic designer. Basically I am telling you the career paths now. So first the research and analysis, this work is basically done by the user interface developer. Second, this planning and strategy is made by user experience developer. Third, we have designing part is done by the graphic designer, which uses software like Photoshop, Figma, Canva and Corel Draw like these. And we have fourth, that is content creation is also a major part of website development, as because the one of website base is the content. The best content you can give to your customer, the high will you be paid. Fine. So content creation is done by the content writer or text writer, like we hire the website companies which hire content writers also. Then we have the development part. Inside the development parts we have 2 phases, front end and second one is back end. So in the front end part, the front end developer designs the complete website, that is already designed, but he designs the website in the form of code that is run by the browser. Okay. Then we have the backend developer. Backend developer basically creates a link between the front end and the database part. The work of a backend developer is to create the link between database and add interactivity to the front end part. At last we have the testing and quality assurance. Also this step consists of the hosting and deployment part. So when all the steps are completed, the website is developed. The last we have the tester or quality assurance engineer. He tests the websites on different platforms, like it is responsive or not, it is working, the form is correctly working or not, like these he tests. And quality assurance, the website is basically shown to many people, and feedbacks, the people give their feedbacks. According to the feedbacks, we make any changes to the websites again. Then we have to host and deploy the website. So basically this is a 6 step process that is completely for the development of a website. Fine. So coming to the next point, the career paths. So according to the last slide, I have written all the career paths according to the last slide, that we had the process from one to the last. So according to the last slide, we have first is the research analysis and planning strategy. So basically the UI and UX developer works for the research analysis and the planning strategy. That the work is done by the UI and UX developer. Second one, we have the web designer. So what is the work of web designer here? Designing part. The graphic designing part is basically done by the web designer. Also sometimes the web designer have the role of text editor or content creator, content writer. Like these roles are also sometimes having by the web designer. Otherwise some company hire another text editors or content writers. Next thing, for the front end development comes the development part. We have HTML CSS developer, JavaScript developer, and a complete front end developer. A person could be a HTML CSS developer, only HTML and CSS. A person could be only JavaScript developer, that who works only for JavaScript. Then we have a front end developer that completely works on HTML CSS JavaScript. Also he knows other languages too that are used in front end, like React JS and Node.js, like these. Okay, Bootstrap, responsive web design, the front end web developer. Then we have the backend developer. The work of backend developer is basically to create the link between front end and backend. For the backend developer is to create the link between front end and the database, to transfer data from front end to database and from database to front end part. Okay. So then we have the full stack engineer. Full stack engineer is basically the complete front end backend engineer. We have many stacks like MERN stack and mean stack, lamp stack, tall stack. All these stack, basically these all stacks consist of 4 languages. If you learn any 4 languages that are consisted in one stack, you can become a full stack engineer. Fine. So basically full stack engineer stands for complete front end and back end and database, complete part. Then we have a data analyst and data engineer. Basically data analyst and data engineers are having the role of to analyze the data, that the database that the backend sets from taking the inputs from the front end. The backend sets some data in our database, and that data is then analyzed by our data analyst. Then we have the data engineer who works on that data. After the analyst, if analyst says some changes for the data, then the data engineer makes changes on our data part. Then we have front end quality assurance engineer. Front end quality assurance engineer, basically he works for the quality assurance, like we have the testing, it comes in the testing part. We have the testing and quality assurance. So here comes the quality assurance. So basically he checks the quality of front end, like it is responsive or not, it is showing completely on a phone, on a tablet, and other. Sorry to interrupt, someone has. Okay, fine. So we were here. Okay. So front end quality assurance engineer, basically he works for the quality assurance of the front end part that was made by the front end developer or HTML, CSS and JavaScript developer combined. Then we have testing and deployment. We have a tester who tests the websites, any for bugs, for security checks and everything. And at last we deploy our website. Fine. So these all are the career paths that you can have after learning the web development. So you can go for a UI UX developer role, web designer, HTML CSS developer, JavaScript front end back end, full stack, data analyst, data engineer, front end quality assurance engineer, or a testing and deployment employee. Then after all these we have another post, that is team leader or project manager. So if you have a good experience in any of these, if in any of these. You can become a team leader of UI UX developers, team leader of front end developers, team leader of back end developers, if you gain some experience in the same fields. Okay, next we are having front end developer, because front end developer and the back end developer, basically the website have its base on the front end and back end. Only these two things are working as the base of a website. So we at the role of front end developer, I will tell you now the requirements that are required to become a front end web developer. Now, so basically, who is a front end web developer? In the day in the life of front end developer might involve meeting with developer and design team. So basically, what is this? Front end developer basically involves in meetings with the designing teams, because the designing teams gives to the front end developer. The role is to convert that design into a browser readable code using some languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, which are mentioned here. Fine. So coding, researching, also these parts, a small part of coding and a small part of researching. Coding is the major part of a front end development, and researching is a small part of front end development, because most of the research is done by the designing team and the design is given to the front end developer. Then we also debug the code. We can also check the errors in the code. Functional, the code must be functional for every screen width, that is mobile device, tablet device, laptop, and laptop with a larger screen, like these. So these are the basic role of a front end web developer. And the requirements to become a front end developer is, basic requirements are these: basic till jQuery. If you learn complete HTML, CSS, responsive web designs, Bootstrap, JavaScript, jQuery, so basically you will be able to become a front end web developer. Others you can learn for React, go for React.js, Node.js, and AngularJS. These three are the frameworks of JavaScript that are also used in front end web development. So we can make our website code more easy and manipulate the code easily. And for security, it is also used. These three are also used for security reasons. With Angular, we can make one-page websites, like we have Facebook. All the functionalities in Facebook and YouTube we have only in a single page. We don't have to move to other pages in Facebook to post anything. We can message in a single page, we can post in a single page. This is done by Angular. So if you want to master these also, you can go for these roles also, like React.js, Node.js, AngularJS. But till here, if you learn completely till jQuery, you can also become a front end web developer from this also. Secondly, the backend developer. Backend developer main role is to configure the servers and database that powers a website or application. So basic work is to configure the data servers. Servers is the place where our website is uploaded. The website where whenever we call for our website, whenever we search for our name of the website, or we search the link of our website, basically it is called from a server. So from the server, it is called by the using backend languages. Okay, backend languages. And also I told you before that backend is also used to create a link between front end and the databases. So it is also used to manipulate the databases. Okay, then you will work with other developers and designers to power the front end of website. You will have to work parallelly with the front end developers, because you have to manipulate the database and send the data from database to the front end part. You have to manipulate the front end part also using that data. If the data is like two, you have to, if the data is my name, let's say my name Yash. So if the data is Yash, you have to display that Yash in the front end part, because the user only sees the front end part. Okay, so basically this is the work you have to work parallelly with the front end designers and developers of the website. Okay, then you will be the architect behind the beautifully designed site. So the front end developer designs the site. Basically he doesn't designs. Many people think he designs, but he doesn't design. He just code the design. That code is designed, that design is coded by the front end developer. Okay, so the beautifully designed site is kept behind you. The architect behind the website will be you, if you are a backend developer, because you are making the logics and all in the backend development field. So other thing is you might code based off a plan another developer or designer has created, create the plan yourself. Third thing is if you are cannot work parallelly with the front end development part. Okay, so basically in companies what we have, in companies we have a back end developing team and a front end developer team. So these two teams work co-currently with each other, but sometimes we don't have a front end web development team, we just have a back end or a full stack. We just have a full stack, they work both with back end and front end technologies, because they, for the ease of their work, for the ease of the their work, they make the front end their selves, because most time they have to call data from the front end part. So mostly the back end engineer also plays the role of a front end, and this is basically we call the full stack developer. Fine. So here are the requirements of a backend developer, that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Why HTML, CSS, JavaScript? Because for the front end part, if the backend developer sometimes given role of a front end engineer, so basically he must know the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, that is basic building blocks of the front end website. Okay, then we have the Node.js, PHP, Python, .NET, Java, Ruby. These, from Node.js to Ruby, you don't need to learn everything. You don't need to learn all these. You have to just master any one of these. Any one of these you have to just master. It could be PHP, it could be Node.js, it could be Python, .NET, Java, or Ruby. So basically, PHP is used on a very large scale nowadays. More than 70% of websites are using PHP. More than 70% of websites are using PHP as their backend language, and I think 2 to 3% are using Python nowadays. Others are also having 2 to 3%. So these are the basic backend languages: Node.js, PHP, Python, .NET, Java, Ruby, and then we have to work with the database. A backend developer must have a good knowledge about the database. Databases in web development we have is SQL or MongoDB. Other databases like Firebase and all these are also used in web development, but basically these could be used, but for a complete website I should recommend that you use SQL or MongoDB, because most of the companies use SQL, MongoDB. Firebase and Firestore, like these databases you can use in your personal projects, like personal projects or small projects, but to collect a large data you have to use SQL or MongoDB. Then you have to know about the software architecture, that how a software works. Basic knowledge of coding you must have to gain the knowledge of software architecture, that because if you all know that if you have gone to a bank, if you went any bank, the bankers, the cashiers, everybody is working on a website that is provided by the bank. That website is basically completely built on backend, completely backend based websites, because are is they are complete software. We cannot call them a website. They are called a web application or web softwares. A complete software that you have downloaded in your phones, that is converted in a website. So basically the backend developer must have a good knowledge about the software architecture also, that how a software works. So this was all about the career paths in web development that you can choose. So again, if anybody wants to take any screenshot of the career paths, he or she can take now. And that's it from my side. Okay, thank you. So now if anybody having any doubts regarding their career yet, if they want to go in any other field, they want to ask about that field also, you can ask now.
Yes, by something about Android development because my chosen field is Android development and I'm learning Java advanced these days.
Okay, Aryan, I think you have joined the class late. So we have
Yes,
told,
yes.
okay, no issue. We have told everything about Android development before you joined the class. So we have an Android developer here, that is Bharat Singh Chauhan. He is our chief guest for today's class, and he will tell you about this. So Bharat, please.
Yeah. So, Aryan, what is your query?
Bharat bhaiya, Java is good for Android development or Kotlin is better? Because these days the Kotlin is in the field and in the market also.
Yeah, see, Java and Kotlin are the two only languages that are supported by Android, right? So what happened that recently Google has announced that in 2017 or 18 that Kotlin should also be Kotlin can also be used as a development language for Android. But as we know that Java is a very stable, mature, and a very old language. And it's also been around 2 decades, like it's been 20 years since we have using these languages in not just Android development and many areas, like in some part of web development in backend also we are using Java. But Kotlin is a new language, and it's future language. So if you are saying that which is good, Java or Kotlin, it depends on you, because Java, you can find the tutorials, you can find the if you have kind of any problem, you can find solutions on like Stack Overflow sites, or you can just if you are stuck or you want to get the code from you can say functionality, you can easily find it on the internet. But Kotlin as a language is new to everybody, so you will not find that much of a guidance for Kotlin. But I suggest that you should work on Kotlin also, because it is concise than Java, right? So if Java, if an app, if a code takes 10 lines of Java, it just takes 4 lines of Kotlin. So you can see that there is a huge gap, and the efficiency is more in Kotlin. So if you would learn Kotlin, there's a better chance that you should get a job, because they give Kotlin preference as they want the application to be efficient, and in the future, in the Android devices, especially efficiency is very important, because you don't want a single minute application taking much space. But yes, Java is a very stable language and mature language. You should learn Java also. So I suggest that you should go for Java first. First you learn Java, you should apply it, and then you learn some concepts of Kotlin, like the basic concepts of Java. You can refer, and then you can learn on the Kotlin language and try it on the same application, try to build the same application with the Kotlin language. If you find that yes, Kotlin is easy to learn, and the application runs more faster, or it's very efficient, uh, please go to Kotlin. There is nothing. But if you find that yes, Kotlin is some bit difficult, but and there is not much proper things in Kotlin, it will take some time. You can stick to Java there, because see, the demand is common, but people are going to Kotlin also because it is the future. Java will be deprecated in the coming years, I guarantee that. But Java is a very vast language, has been used in not just Android and everywhere. So it will take time to deprecate. It will deprecate, but it will take time. But the Kotlin is the future, so you should first learn Java and then try to do the same thing in Kotlin. If you find that yes, go with Kotlin, and if you don't find it, you find some difficulty, because it's up to you. If you find it good, you can do it. Thank you.
Okay, brother. Yeah, okay. Already I am in learning Java Advanced these days. So that this was my doubt. Thanks for
No, it's
solving
okay.
this.
No, it's okay. See, in Java, you see that there are many things in Java. Like Java is itself an object-oriented language, and it's a very vast language. You could find a number of tutorials on the internet, a number of solutions, a number of forums on the internet. So you can just you know find a solution easily, or find grasp everything. Or
Yes.
there is a very vast knowledge on the internet, you can collect it from anywhere. But Kotlin itself is a new language. If you try to search it on the internet, you will find very few results as compared to Java. So
Hmm.
as you are a student learning, trying to see, decide which is better, I suggest you try both. But first you should learn one language. So I suggest you first learn Java, because that is
Oh,
stable,
yes.
and then you try Kotlin. If you find it, then you can shift.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I think everybody's are cleared now. So I would like to conclude this session and a very big hand of applause for Bharat Singh to be our chief guest and guide our coders so efficiently. Thank you, Bharat Singh.
Thank you so much, Yash. Thank you so much, Kiran. Thank you so much, Aryan, for participating in this session. And I think Coding Muggles also for providing me an opportunity to share my views. And thank you so much.
Okay, so I would like now everybody to you can leave the class.
Yes, sorry. Hello?